Finally, guys, after 3 weeks of work, we are back on Pixelmon doing another 100 days as I promised in the last video. But before we move on, thank you so much for the support on the last video. It has been amazing. And if you could support this video the same by liking, commenting, subscribing, it would be amazing. This video did take me about 30 hours to record and about 25 hours to edit. So this is a 55-hour long project. So any support you could show would be absolutely amazing. I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So the support to that goal is massive for me. But anyways, enough of me rambling, back to the task in hand. We are heading back into the world of Pixelmon for another 100 days. We have 5 new goals, a goal from the last 100 days, as well as a special challenge, which we'll get to later on. We'll start with the goal from the last video, which was obviously our goal to get a full team of level 100 Pokemon. Now, onto the new goals. Our first goal for these 100 days is to get all 18 elemental plates for Arceus. Our second goal is to catch 5 Ultra Beasts in Ultra Space. Our third goal is to defeat 8 new gyms, which could be a challenge for us as we'll have to go searching for them. Our fourth goal is to Gigantamax a Pokemon in our team. And finally, our fifth goal is to catch 2 more shiny Pokemon, taking our overall tally to 3 shiny Pokemon for the 200 days. I had to include this as I am a shiny hunter. Now finally, onto the special challenge. I will be trying to catch as many of the original 151 Pokemon as possible. And for every Pokemon I don't catch, I will be adding £1 into the prize fund at the end, where it will be turned into an Amazon gift card. The prize fund will be rounded up, so obviously if I don't catch 22 Pokemon, for example, it'll be rounded up to 25, and the gift card will be hidden in the video merged in with the background in one of the clips. Unless, obviously, I catch all 151 Pokemon. But anyway, enough of me talking to you. You want to see the 200 days, you want to see the action, so let's dive straight into it. Day 101 to 110 started off where the previous video left off in Ultra Space, where we found a second Arc Chalice. We started to raid End Cities in Ultra Space as we were looking for the Mine and Dread plate, which we got from this End City, as these were 2 plates we needed to spawn Arceus. We also got a Lustrous Orb from this End City. We were also looking for Master Balls to use if we got a Legendary Raid Den later down the line. Then, out of nowhere, as we were stashing our loot inside shulker boxes, a Ultra Beast spawned, our first one of the series, Celesteela, which was the first of 5 we required to complete our challenge of catching 5 Ultra Beasts. We engaged him with Ampharos, managed to get him low, paralyze him, and then catch him after a few Ultra Balls to add our first of 5 Ultra Beasts. We then found a Mega Boss Slowbro in one of the Ultra Space unique biomes, which we took down with Rayquaza to gain ourselves a rare candy and a toxic plate. Then, as we were wandering through Ultra Deep Sea, we mined a diamond block and then turned around to see that a Nihilio had spawned on us. I don't know if I said that correctly, but that's how I think you pronounce it. Another Ultra Beast had spawned on us, making that 2 out of 5 for our challenge if we managed to catch it. We engaged it with Ampharos, took it down to low HP, paralyzed it, and managed to catch it in our first Ultra Ball. Our catch luck so far in these 100 days had been absolutely insane. We then found another Beast Ball loot. We were looking for these because they contained the Pixie plate, which we did indeed get from this one, which was the hardest plate to get for Arceus. We had most of the other ones. After getting this Pixie plate, we only had a few remaining. As you can see on screen, I was pretty gassed at the time. Then we engage a legendary boss Hoot. And just after me saying that the Pixie plate was the hardest one to get, we go and get a freaking Nova from a legendary boss Hoot out of all things. This plate is the hardest, obviously, because it spawns in a woodland mansion, and we'd been to our only woodland mansion on the seed and not been able to find one. Meaning we got super lucky to get 1, let alone 2, as it was a drop from a massive loot pool. And finally, guys, after so long, we finally found a shrine for one of the legendary Kanto birds. We found the shrine for Articuno in Ultra Space. We set a waypoint there so we could come back to it later in case we got another orb so we could catch Articuno. Then, after finding the Articuno Shrine, we jumped off the edge of the world to leave Ultra Space and return home, as I was running out of space and I wanted to deposit my loot, as well as find out what plates we were still missing in order to get Arceus. We spawned back in to the overworld from Ultra Space in a cave where we quickly swam up to the surface to learn that we were just outside the jungle where we'd originally left to go into Ultra Space in the first place. When we arrived home after flying back, we placed all the shulker boxes on the floor out of our ender chest and started to organise the loot into the chests at base. We then reorganised our plates we had collected in the order that they showed up on the Pixelmon wiki in order to find out which two plates we were missing. We were missing the Spooky and the Sky plate. I found out via the wiki that the Spooky plate spawned in strongholds, so we went on Chunk Base, loaded up our seed, and found all the nearby strongholds and started to head to each one of them one by one. On my way to the first stronghold, a freaking Azelf spawned in a den in the forest biome I was in. Unfortunately, it was in a den, it didn't spawn in the overworld, but we still went to take on the den in hopes of beating and catching it. Thankfully, this time we did not fumble the bag and we managed to defeat our first legendary raid with ease with our level 100zation. We then tried to catch the Azelf, but unfortunately we only got one roll and it broke out. However, we did get a golden bottle cap and an ability patch, which is a big win from this raid. Unfortunately, the first stronghold we went to turned out to be a bust and it did not generate when we made this map, so we started heading towards the second closest one. Unfortunately, the stronghold didn't yield any spooky plates, with the only plate we found in a chest being a Zap plate in our last chest. We ended off day 101 to 110 after the disappointment of the first two strongholds by starting to head towards a cluster of 3 strongholds, which we would get to in the next 10 days. Day 111 to 120 started off by us taking on a gym that we found on our way to one of the strongholds. We did indeed beat this gym, and it was a gym we hadn't faced before, so we got a new badge, the Rain Badge. I then made my way and dug down into the 7th stronghold of the series. Unfortunately, this stronghold was a bust and didn't have anything of note in any of the chests whatsoever. I then decided I was going to search just 5 more strongholds. There was a series of 5 close by to the stronghold that I was near, within a few thousand blocks of each other, so I decided I was just going to fly to these last 5, and if I didn't find the plate, I was going to head back home and find another way. I then made my way and dug down into the 8th stronghold of the series, where in the first chest we managed to find a red orb, which is used to Mega Evolve and get Primal Groudon. We then made our way down into the library, where in the last chest of the stronghold, we managed to find a spooky plate. Finally, in our 8th stronghold, we managed to get one. I believe we travelled around 50,000 blocks to go between all these strongholds just to get this damn plate. Then, on my way home, I came across another fire gym at one of the nearby villages, and I decided to take it on as there was a chance we could get a new gym badge. Fortunately, this time we managed to make our way through the gym without dying in lava and managed to be the gym leader. Unfortunately, he gave us a duplicate heat badge, so this didn't help us at all. Then, as we made it home, it wouldn't be 100 days without this man spawning. An Entei spawned on us again. I tried to catch him as I was sick of killing Enteis, but unfortunately he didn't want to stay in the damn ball. So, to save us wasting Pokeballs, I did put him out of his misery, but no doubt we'll be seeing him again in this series. I then decided I was going to head over to the nearby Flower Forest biome that we found in the first 100 days, as Mega Mewtwo spawned in the forest biome, and I wanted to get a Mega Mewtwo stone in order to Mega Evolve my Mewtwo. Also, as well as this, Mega Pidgeot spawned in any type of forest biome, and I wanted to kill a Mega Pidgeot not only for its Mega Stone, but also because there was a chance it could drop a Sky Plate as it was a flying type boss Pokemon. The first mega to spawn while I was at the Flower Forest, unfortunately, was a Mega Manectric, which we did end up defeating to get a Mega Manectric Mega Stone, which was a good addition to the collection, and one we didn't already have. I then went and caught a Tauros, as I thought it was a rare spawn, and I wanted to add it to my Pokedex, as well as this, a Pinsir also spawned, which I thought as well was a rare spawn, so I caught that to add that to the Pokedex as well. We ended off day 111 to 120 by defeating an ultimate boss Mega Ampharos to gain ourselves an XP all, which will help us down the line when getting our team to level 100. Day 121 to 130 started off where we left off in the last 10 days. We were in the Flower Forest biome looking for bosses, and we came across a boss Ampharos, which we managed to defeat to get a mind plate. Unfortunately, this would be the last boss in the Flower Forest biome. I then decided to leave the Flower Forest biome as I felt like I was wasting my time there, and I'd be better served going back to Ultra Deep Space, where I had the best chance of getting the Sky Plate. However, because we were still looking for a Ultra Wormhole, I decided to take a journey outwards to complete one of our objectives. Then, as we were on our way to the location, 10,000 blocks away, I feel like I've travelled almost about 300,000 blocks in this series. But as we were going, we came across a boss Aerodactyl, which we did manage to take down to give ourselves another new Mega Stone. Then, along the way, we came across another gym, which we decided to take on, as we still needed to get 8 more gym badges for one of our objectives. We did manage to take this gym down rather easily to gain ourselves a Cascade badge, which we hadn't got yet. Then, after 10,000 blocks, we came up to our destination, and as some of you probably guessed by one of my objectives, it was indeed a Mushroom Island, and when we landed on the Mushroom Island, we gained the advancement for visiting every biome. I then scoured the island, collecting all of the max mushrooms on the island, where we collected 10 in order to craft a max soup so we can complete our objective of Gigantamaxing one of our Pokemon. After collecting the 10 max mushrooms, which was all that was on the island, we started to head home, where a bloody Latios spawned in a raid den off the side of the ocean on one of the beaches. Fortunately, we did manage to take this Latios down, which gave us some good XP candies, but unfortunately, we couldn't catch him, as has been our luck with every legendary raid so far. I then arrived home, placed down my shulkers, and organised all the loot I had gathered on my trip to the Mushroom Island. As you can see on screen, a Necrozma spawned in the Roof Forest biome I was in, and you may be wondering why was I just randomly in a Roof Forest biome. It was because I had decided I wanted Gigantamax Urshifu to be my Gigantamax Pokemon for this series, and Kubfu spawns in the afternoon in the Roof Forest biome. But unfortunately, I did get the times wrong, and I was looking at the 24-hour clock, not the 20-minute clock. So I was in Necrozma's spawning time. Thankfully, Necrozma does help us because he can open wormholes back to Ultra Deep Space, so we can go back whenever we desire. And we did manage to catch up Necrozma. He was very easy to catch, thankfully, but now we turned our focus to actually getting the Pokemon we wanted, which was Kubfu. Then, after a few days, in the right time zone, we got a Kubfu to spawn in the Roof Forest biome. Thankfully, Kubfu didn't have too low of a spawn rate, so it was quite easy to spawn. We quickly engaged him and realised that he spawned at level 15, so other than Ampharos' paralysis, we had no way to increase the catch odds, and he had quite a low catch rate. Then, my Mega Mind sized brain kicked in, and I realised while we were trying to catch the Kubfu that I did indeed have my PC in my ender chest, so we pulled out the PC from my ender chest and grabbed the Larvitar we caught on day 1 and used Larvitar to lower Kubfu's HP to give us a better odds of catching him. Unfortunately though, day 121 to 130 ended in tragedy. Using Larvitar, we got Kubfu down into the yellow, and after a large amount of Pokeballs, I decided I wanted to try one more bite in order to get him in the red to give us that best optimal chance. But unfortunately, the bite ended up getting a high roll and killing the Kubfu. so we ended off day 121 to 130 heartbroken. We started off day 131 to 140 by selling all our relic, silver, gold and copper at the shopkeepers and used the money to buy a load of Ultra Balls to boost ourselves back up from the Ultra Balls we lost by defeating the Kubfu in the previous 10 days. Then when we got home, we turned all the bones we had got from defeating Pokemon into bone meal, and we used the bone meal to speed up our apricot production so we could craft even more Pokeballs, so next time we got a Kubfu, we caught it 100%. And yes, he came around again. It wouldn't be 100 days without the boy Entei spawning again. We did kill him without hesitation this time. We didn't even try to catch him. I didn't want to waste the Pokeballs with me looking to get a Kubfu. Then, after defeating Entei for the 1 millionth time this series, a Mega Boss Steelix spawned. It was a legendary boss, so there was a chance for a Sky play, but unfortunately we did not get one, but we did get a new Mega Stone to add to the collection, which was Mega Steelixes. I then crafted my final lot of Pokeballs before heading out to try and get Kubfu once again. Then finally, after a few days had passed while we were fighting a Meowstic, Kubfu finally showed his face again. We immediately went to engage Kubfu, employing our Larvitar strategy. We got him into the red with Larvitar, then paralyzed him with Ampharos, and what felt like 50 or 60 Pokeballs later, we finally caught the Kubfu, which allowed us to get the Pokemon we wanted to Gigantamax to complete our objective. After we got home from catching Kubfu, we noticed that a Charizard had spawned, so we went over and caught it to add it to the Pokedex. As we were heading out to the water tower to evolve Kubfu, we went AFK on the shoreline, and when we got back to a surprise. A Latios had spawned on us as soon as we came in, but unfortunately we lagged and it flew out of render distance. I wasn't too unhappy with this, as I have too many legendaries and I wouldn't actually use Latios, and I wanted to save the Pokeballs for Arceus. The legendaries just kept wanting to tease me. As we were just over the ocean from the water tower, a Manaphy spawned in a raid den in our location. Unfortunately, I did not manage to find the raid den, and I did just end up flying away because at the time I was molding over Latios, as even though I didn't need him, I kind of wanted him at the time because I'm a big Latios and Latias fan. We then arrived and climbed to the top of the water tower, where we clicked on Kubfu to evolve him in front of the water scroll into Urshifu. We then crafted our max soup in the water tower using the max mushrooms we had collected, and we fed Urshifu the max soup to give him the ability to Gigantamax, completing our objective of getting a Gigantamax Pokemon. We then started to head home so we could head into Ultra Space to try and find that sky plate that had been eluding us all this time. While we were in Ultra Space, we came across an electric type gym, a type of gym we had not faced in this series yet, but for some reason all the trainers' Pokemons were level 27, so we made light work of it with Mewtwo, claiming ourselves the Thunder Badge, a badge we obviously didn't have yet. After collecting the Thunder Badge, we found another gym on a nearby island which we managed to defeat with relative ease, even though the Pokemon were actually equal to our level, unlike the level 27s of the last gym, and we defeated this gym to claim the Mine Badge. We then found a 5-star Arctivish raid, which we did manage to take down, getting us some good XP candies. We did also manage to catch this Arctivish, and then literally 30 seconds after leaving the raid den, a Virizion spawned on us. To end off day 131 to 140, we did end up trying to catch the Virizion, but unfortunately we did not catch it in the amount of Pokeballs I wanted to spend on it, so we did end up defeating it to end off these 10 days. We started off day 141 to 150 by catching our third Ultra Beast of 5, Blacephalon, aka Pennywise. Thankfully, this wasn't too hard of a capture and we didn't waste too many Pokeballs on him, and we got it done within a few minutes. After catching Blacephalon, we jumped out of the world in order to head back to the overworld to try a new strategy to get the last plate we needed for Arceus and the objective, the Sky Plate. Once I arrived back from Ultra Space at our base, I deposited all the loot we had collected on our journeys into the chest so we had more space because we were going to be searching dungeons for the skyplate. I then headed down into our original mine shaft from the first 100 days where I engaged a rock and roller which I used to look through the mesh to find a dungeon that we could go check the chests of. While trying to find the dungeon we found in the mesh, we were looking by a ravine and we did indeed fall to our death, which kind of sucked as we had quite a lot of XP, but it wasn't the end of the world. I then dug back down into the ravine where I died and I picked up all of my loot and I decided to change strategy. I wouldn't look through the mesh in Pokemon battles anymore. I was going to use chunk base to try find the simple dungeons. Then, using chunk base, I dug down into the dungeon we were looking for when we died in the ravine. Unfortunately, no skyplate and no useful loot for us. While I was in another mine shaft looking for a dungeon I had found on chunk base, we decided to battle a legendary boss Sableye in case it did indeed drop a skyplate. But then, during the battle, a Regigigas spawned in the cave we were in, and I knew I had to go engage that thing. Unfortunately, the legendary boss Sableye dropped nothing of use. We then walked around the corner in the mine shaft to find the Regigigas in the smallest cave possible, suffocating in a wall. We did end up battling it, getting it down into the red, paralyzing it, and then eventually catching it up in an Ultra Ball. We did use more Ultra Balls than I would have liked, but still, I love Regigigas and I was glad to have him in the PC. We then realised there was another simple dungeon just a few hundred blocks away in the desert next to Savannah Plateau, which we dug straight down to, and finally, eventually, the chest in this simple dungeon did indeed contain a sky plate, completing our goal of getting all of the elemental plates. Before heading out to go get the Azure Flute, we used some of the stone we had mined from all the searching for the dungeons to get some stone brick to start on the second layer of our house, which we made good progress on and we were going to finish later on in the 100 days. We then arrived at the Arc Chalice we had found in the first 100 days, ready to put all our hard work to bed and combine all the elemental plates in order to get the Azure Flute. Draco, Dread, Earth, Fist, Flame, Icicle, Insect, Iron, Meadow. Mind, Pixie, Spooky, Splash, Sky, Stone, Toxic, Zap. The energy from all the plates span round the Arc Chalice, eventually combining in the middle to give us none other than the Azure Flute. We then set off home with our Azure Flute to prepare for Arceus. We then showed up to the ruins to summon Arceus. We didn't actually know where to click, and I did try click the time-space altar before realising you had to press it on the floor in order to summon Arceus. We were as prepared as we could be to catch God. Arceus was a formidable foe. First time round, he defeated our entire team while we were trying to catch him, but we did bring healing items and healed up our team and decided to take him on once more. The second time of asking went a lot better. We got Arceus weak and paralysed and then eventually managed to catch him in an Ultra Ball, securing ourselves the last member of our team that will be there for the rest of the 100 days. And thank God, because I was starting to get worried as we were running low on Pokeballs. Ironically enough, the ruins were indeed in extreme hills, and while we were leveling up Arceus as well as giving him Dynamax Candy and PP ups, the star of the show spawned. Entei spawned on us again for the 900th millionth time. We did go over and defeat him straight away before heading back home. When we got home, we went on a little catching spree before heading back to Ultra Space. We caught a Spearow, Fearow, Machoke, Ponyta, Growlithe, Geodude and Graveler to help towards the objective of catching as many of the original 151 Pokemon as possible before the end of these 100 days. As soon as we headed into Ultra Space, we got some luck on our side. I saw on my minimap that there were 2 shiny Hoot Hoots, and I was sure one of them was a boss, one of them was a real shiny, and it turned out the one we went with was indeed a real shiny Hoot Hoot, which we managed to catch up. Unfortunately, the other shiny Hoot Hoot did get out of render, so we didn't find out if it was another shiny Hoot Hoot or was indeed a boss. We then headed off on another catching spree in Ultra Space, going towards the 151, catching ourselves a Weedle, Jigglypuff, Execute, Metapod, Krabby, Psyduck, and finishing off by catching a Grimer. We ended off day 141 to 150 with our shiny luck continuing to be absolutely amazing. I know the shiny rates are doubled in Ultra Space, but getting 2 shinies in the space of 20 minutes, where we only got 1 within the full 100 days last time round, is absolutely insane to me. So we ended off day 141 at 250 on a high, catching a shiny Murkrow. Thank God for the minimap. We saw it in the corner, we flew over to it, managed to catch it within a few Ultra Balls to complete the goal of catching 3 shiny Pokemon. Day 151 at 260 started off by a Lunala spawning in a den in the plains biome we were in. As soon as the Lunala spawned, a Nagalio spawned as well, just next to the den. Unfortunately, we did end up losing the Lunala raid as it sleep stalled us, and then we went to catch the Nagalio and ended up killing it as well. That would have been our 4th Ultra Beast and would have left us with 1 more to catch, but unfortunately, we did end up killing it. Then literally, as we flew over to the next island, Pennywise spawned again, or as you know him, Blacephalon. We did try to catch Blacephalon to make up for missing out on the Nagalio to put us closer to the 5 Ultra Beast objective, but we did end up killing him as well, and if we'd have caught both of them, that would have been the Ultra Beast objective done, but unfortunately it wasn't, and we still needed 2 more. We then came across a 4-star Tyrantrum raid, and our luck continued tenfold. We managed to take down the Tyrantrum, and he gave us none other than an orb, which we immediately turned into a Articuno orb. Because we had the Articuno shrine, we were now 2 orbs out of 3 and 1 shrine out of 3, meaning we were 1 step closer to hopefully catching all of the original 151. I don't even know how to put this into words while doing the voiceover, but another shiny Hoot Hoot spawned on us. That makes it 2 that we've caught, possibly 3 that have spawned on us, because we don't know if that other one was actually a shiny or just a boss. We managed to catch up the shiny Hoot Hoot, giving us the entire Hoot Hoot line shiny if we chose to evolve it. Then it just kept getting better. As we were flying around, another Blacephalon spawned on us. This time we were better prepared to catch it, and we did end up catching it, making that 4 Ultra Beasts out of 5, meaning we only needed to catch 1 more to complete another one of our objectives. We then decided to head back home, as I decided I wanted to try flying off in a different direction in order to look for some gyms or the Moltres or Zapdos Shrine, and I felt like my best way of doing that was just to fly in a random direction and hope for the best. I deposited all the items I had gathered on my journey at home, as we were going to be going on this journey for a long time and I needed a lot of storage, as I was planning to pick up a lot of loot. I crafted up some more Ultra Balls before heading off on my journey, as I thought I would find some Pokemon I needed for the 151, or maybe some legendaries along the way. After defeating a max raid den on my journeys, an Azelf spawned in a den in the birch forest nearby me. Thankfully, we did manage to find this and defeat the Azelf, but unfortunately, our catch luck continued in these max raid dens and we didn't manage to secure the Azelf. Then, literally 2 minutes later, as we were flying over the ocean, Manaphy spawned again, this time not in a raid den, it spawned in the water. We swam down with Gyarados and engaged him, got him down into the red, used around 40 to 50 Ultra Balls, but didn't manage to catch him, so we did end up defeating him, which hurt a bit inside because we wasted all the Ultra Balls and I liked collecting legendaries in my PC. Along our travels, we came across a brand new gym, a type of gym we'd never faced before, an ice gym, and we engaged the leader and managed to wipe his entire team with the Beastation using Behemoth Blade. The move was overpowered, it basically one-shot every single Pokemon to earn us the Iceberg badge, a badge we didn't have yet, and that was badge 6 out of 8 that we needed for our challenge. In the next town over, there happened to be another birdcage, another flying type gym, which we went on to battle, and then after a while, with a Gliscor roost stalling us for about 40 turns, we did manage to take down the gym, claiming the Feather badge, thankfully a badge we didn't have yet, and that was badge 7 out of 8 of our objective. These gyms were really located on the one side of the map I hadn't checked yet. We found another gym at a nearby village. It was a grass gym. We scuffed our way through, breaking one of the glass blocks to get to the gym leader, which we did indeed wipe with Rayquaza using Dragon Ascend, as the flying type move just literally obliterated everything in front of us, and we ended up defeating the gym leader Rex to gain ourselves the Rainbow badge, the 8th out of 8 gym badges we needed to complete our gym challenge objective. Then, because they just kept piling up, we decided to take on a psychic gym that we found literally in the next village on. There were 4 gyms, 4 villages apart, all brand new, and we did end up defeating the psychic gym to claim ourselves the Mind badge. Finally, oh my days, it felt like forever since we came across a new shrine. But we found a Mesa, which did indeed have a fiery shrine in it, meaning if we got one more orb, we could guarantee ourselves 2 of the 3 legendary birds and get us that one step closer to catching the original 151. A Tornadus raid spawned in the savannah next to the Mesa, but unfortunately, we got ourselves useless NPCs, and it ended up defeating us with 12% of its HP left, which really did hurt inside. On the way home, after the failed Tornadus raid, we came across a freaking Arceus raid, which we were so close to beating, but we had a Clefairy and a Magikarp NPC, which literally did no damage, meaning we couldn't break any of the shields, and we ended up losing the raid then, which really did frustrate me, and we were getting botted at the time by someone, which was really getting on my nerves, so I wasn't really having a good time at this point. As I was home, a Hitmonlee spawned outside my base, so I decided to paralyze and catch it, as it was another Pokemon closer to the original 151, and it was one of the ones with a lower spawn rate. We then sold all of our excess healing items that we were ever going to use, as well as any nuggets, rare bones, and anything worth any money, in order to buy a load more Ultra Balls, as I didn't have any bones to bone me my apricots, and I needed Ultra Balls as I was heading off to catch that last Ultra Beast. We ended off day 151 to 60 by spawning an Ultra Wormhole with Arceus and jumping through it to head out looking for that final Ultra Beast. We started off day 161 to 170 by battling a Pimikuku. I don't really know if I'm saying that right, that is just a random guess, but we did manage to defeat the legendary boss to gain ourselves a rare candy before we went on to catch a Pidgey and a Machop, which we needed for our Pokédex. Finally, after so long searching, we came across another Ultra Beast. This time I was determined not to defeat it like I had done the previous 2 in the previous 10 days. It was another Nihilio, one we did already have, which I was a bit disappointed with, but the objective was just to catch 5 Ultra Beasts. So we engaged it, got it down into the red, and did indeed manage to catch it, completing our objective of catching 5 Ultra Beasts. Unfortunately, while in the battle with Nihilio, our Gyarados knocked us off the edge and sent us back into the overworld, which is a bit disappointing as there was a boss Venusaur literally on the other island, which we could have defeated to get another new Megastone. I then found a Hitmonchan outside my base, which I caught as it was one of the rare spawns in the 151, which I didn't have. On the other side of the mountain, where I caught the Hitmonchan, there was a Meowth, which I did indeed catch, as I needed Meowth as well as Persian to complete the original 151. I then crafted another cloning machine in base as my 200 IQ brain realised I could clone my Mew using the iron blocks to not get a Mewtwo, but get a Ditto, which I still needed for the Pokédex. out of nowhere, our main man Rayquaza decided to spawn again after being an absolute pain to get in the first 100 days. We did fly over to the Rayquaza and end up defeating him, as I didn't need to waste Pokeballs on a Rayquaza which we already had with max stats level 100. It would have been nice to get him in the PC, but it wasn't really worth the Pokeballs at this moment in time. We then cloned our Mew for the first time using the 3 iron blocks to decrease our chance of getting Mewtwo, and thankfully we pulled Ditto first time round. But me being me, I stupidly switched into Ampharos too soon, and Ditto transformed into Ampharos, meaning I couldn't use Thunder Wave on him to paralyze him, as he was technically an Ampharos. So we did indeed run from the battle to try re-engage with the Ditto, but unfortunately they don't stay spawned when you run, so I have to clone Mew again. Unfortunately, having to clone Mew again because of my mess up meant we could no longer get any more Mewtwo's, as Mew was out of clones. But I wasn't that disappointed, as we didn't need another Mewtwo, as we had a maxed out one with a golden bottle cap, so we wouldn't really have any other use for another Mewtwo. So we cloned the Mew again, and thankfully got a Ditto once again, and this time it transformed into Cypher. We used our Cypher to false swipe it down, then subbed in Ampharos, Thunder Waved him, managed to get him paralyzed, and then did indeed catch him, claiming him for our Pokédex. I then went to the Nether, as that is where Gengar spawned, one of the trade blocked Pokemon that I would need for the Pokédex. While in the Nether, we did indeed manage to fill our Orb of Static Souls, so we can now move on to our Orb of Frozen Souls. While in the Nether, we caught some Pokemon to go towards our Pokédex. We caught Gastly, Haunter, Ekans, as well as the Arbok you're seeing on screen now. I also did some evolving in the Nether while defeating Pokemon to fill up my Orb of Frozen Souls. We evolved Metapod into Butterfree, Charmander into Charmeleon, Weedle into Kakuna, and Pidgeot into Pidgeotto. As well as this, we evolved Abra into Kadabra, which you're seeing on your screens. Because the game's funny and has irony and everything like that, the game decided to spawn a flipping Mega Gengar boss instead of an actual Gengar, which we needed for the Pokédex. We did indeed end up taking down this Gengar with our Pidgeotto. We literally just quick attacked it to death, as it couldn't actually hit us, and we ran out of usable Pokemon. The Gengar dropped an ability patch and a rare candy, which helped us with leveling up our main Pokemon. As we returned home, one of the coolest and rarest things spawned, a Crystal Bloody Onix. An Onix we did indeed need for the Pokédex, something we hadn't caught yet, stupidly, and we managed to get a crystal special textured version of it. I was gassed with this find. We did end up catching it and adding it to the Pokédex. As we headed out on another little mission to try and find a Zapdos Shrine, the thing that had been eluding us, a Zamazenta decided to spawn on us outside the first original village. We did indeed engage this, but I didn't want to catch it, as I didn't want to waste Pokeballs as we were looking for that Zapdos Shrine. So I did end up defeating it, getting XP for the Pokemon in my party. Because the game's funny and loves to tease me and all that stuff, it decided to be funny and spawn a Zapdos in a bloody den in the savannah I was in, while looking for a Zapdos Shrine, which I travelled over around 50,000 blocks looking for. We did indeed manage to take the Zapdos down in the den, but as it goes, we couldn't catch it. But, however, it did give us some good XP candy, as well as some silver bottle caps, which made it worth it in the end. As I was flying around in a savannah, I spotted a den, which is when I said these magical and insightful words. A 3-star, you have a really low chance for an orb, but a low chance is still a chance. Yes, I am just a psychic. I can just predict things from the future. We finally got that last orb we needed to make the Orb of Fiery Souls, to make sure we can at least claim 2 of the free birds, hopefully all 3 if we do indeed find a Zapdos Shrine. A bloody Quagsire gave it to us. He was also nice enough to give us a large XP candy as well. We then ended off day 161 to 70 by taking on a water gym we found on our adventures, as we wanted to defeat the Pokemon to get some XP for Gyarados and Urshifu to level them up to finally complete the objective of getting all Pokemon to level 100. We were getting closer to that objective, and I'm sure we would complete it in the next 10 days. We started off day 171 to 80 in the snow, where we were searching for Pokemon we needed for the original 151. We came across a Magnemite, which we did indeed catch up. On our snowy adventures, we came across and caught a Goldeen, a Sea King, as well as a Seal, which was pretty lucky for us as they were 3 Pokemon we needed. On our travels, we came across a 4-star Rapidash den, which gave us some good candies as well as some good items. We did indeed catch this Rapidash up, adding him to the Pokédex. On these travels, we were out looking for a Zapdos shrine, as it was the one shrine we were missing for the legendary birds. And along the way, we came across another quite a cool den, a Hisuian Voltorb, which we did indeed defeat up and catch, which we could evolve later into a Hisuian Electrode. Then, finally, after literally over 100,000 blocks of searching, we finally find a Zapdos shrine. I was absolutely buzzing, and I'm gonna let you listen to my reaction while I was live, as it's absolutely priceless. Oh my god! Finally! Oh my god, I've been waiting for so long. Finally! Well, then, after whatever that was, we went and bought some Ultra Balls to stock up, as we knew Zapdos would be a hard catch. Finally, after much anticipation and a lot of searching, we walked up to the Zapdos shrine and put in our Orb of Static Souls. We literally spent 2 full Minecraft days in these multiple battles, and over 100 Ultra Balls later, we finally caught the Electric Chicken and added him to the Pokédex. I looked back through the first 100-day video and found the coordinates for the village where we picked up the Zapdos quest, and we set a marker there to head back, as we knew we would get rare candies by handing in the quest. On our way to the quest giver, I don't know how I spotted this, but I found a shiny Miltank in the corner of my eye, which we went on to engage. As we were engaged with the Miltank, an Azelf spawned in the pond literally next to us, so we caught up the Miltank, then went to engage the Azelf. It happened again while we were battling the Azelf. As we were about to start chucking Ultra Balls at it, Ampharos died, and the same thing that happened in the first 100 days happened again. We froze and we had to restart our game, and we were praying Azelf was still there. As we loaded in, Azelf was indeed still there, and we got him even lower than before, paralyzed him, chucked literally a couple Ultra Balls at him, and we managed to catch him. As we were on our way home, we noticed an ultimate boss, Kyogre, which we went to engage, and we quickly dispatched of it in the water. But as we were battling it, a Virizion spawned on the mainland next to us again, which we quickly went and dispatched of as well. We finally arrived at the village where we got the Zapdos quest in the first 100 days. The NPC was in a house in the village. We went in and handed the quest into her, and she gave us 30 rare candies, which we immediately went around the corner of the Pokemart and started to apply them to Gyarados, eventually getting him to level 100, which completed our goal of having a full team of level 100s. On our flight home, we got uber lucky. As we passed over in Extreme Hills, we found a Machamp raid den, one of the trade blocked Pokemon, which would have been a very hard one to get. We did manage to defeat the den and then catch the Machamp, adding him to the Pokédex. We then arrived home, deposited all our loot before getting ready to evolve a bunch of Pokemon. After depositing our loot we had collected on our way home, we went on a massive evolving spree in our base. We evolved Bulbasaur into Ivysaur, into Venusaur, Krabby into Kingler, Magnemite into Magneton, Voltorb into Electrode, Omanyte into Omnistar, Psyduck into Golduck, Meowth into Persian, Cubone into Marowak, Growlithe into Arcanine, Zubat into Golbat, Kabuto into Kabutops, and finally Coughing into Wheezing, adding a load of Pokemon into the Pokedex. On our flight around looking for Pokemon we needed for the Pokedex, a Celebi den spawned nearby to us. We did go and defeat it, but unfortunately we couldn't catch a Celebi in the den, which has been our luck with literally every den that has been legendary so far these 200 days. But then after the Celebi den, we evolved our Coughing into Wheezing and our Poliwag into Poliwhirl into Poliwrath. We ended off day 171 to 180 by catching a Paras in the swamp, a Pokemon we needed for the Pokedex and one we would evolve later. Day 181 to 190 started off where most of these 10 days will be spent, in the Haunted Tower next to our base, where we were defeating Pokemon to fill up our orbs, as well as gain XP for Pokemon we needed to evolve for our Pokedex. But while we were at the tower, we found a legendary boss Swampert, which we defeated, which gave us a rare candy, which would help us in leveling up our Pokemon. At this point in the 100 days, our only task left was to catch as many of the original 151 Pokemon as possible to save ourselves as much money as possible. So we started to evolve Pokemon while we were filling up our orbs, and we started with Grimer evolving into Muck. We then evolved Seal into Dugong, Horsey into Seadra. After evolving those two Pokemon, we finally fully filled our orb of Frozen Souls and moved on to our orb of Fiery Souls. We then got straight back to evolving Pokemon. We evolved Oddish into Gloom, Nidoran into Nidorino, and Nidorino into Nidoking. I then went home to deposit our loot before heading out to do something a bit different for a while. On our way to the desert to look for a Sandshrew, we found a Tentacool, another Pokemon we needed. After catching the Tentacool, we came across a Raikou that spawned in a den in the savannah we were in. Thankfully, we did manage to defeat this, but as always, no luck when catching it. While looking at my Pokédex in the desert waiting for a Sandshrew, I realised that Shelder evolved via a Waterstone, so we did it while we had one in our ender chest. After some waiting, we did indeed finally come across a Sandshrew, which we did indeed catch up, adding another one to the Pokédex. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how many times I've said that already or how many times I'm gonna say that within the next 10 days. Then, the man who always has to be the centre of attention, Entei, decided to spawn in the extreme hills as I was in the birch forest searching for an Eevee. We did indeed go and take him out. I had no time for Entei today. We then came across the first of two EVs we needed, which we caught up immediately. We then found the second EV we needed. We needed two EVs because we were still missing Jolteon and Vaporeon from the Pokédex, so we immediately caught this EV up to evolve later into the last evolution we needed. I then pulled up back to base and evolved the two EVs into Jolteon and Vaporeon. Then, as we were flying back to the Haunted Tower, Latias spawned on us, and I tried my best to catch him. As mentioned prior, I'm a massive Latias fan, it's one of my favourite legendaries, but I couldn't waste too many Ultra Balls as we were running low on funds, and I had to catch both Moltres and Articuno later down the line. We then headed back to the Haunted Tower and started to evolve Pokemon again, as well as fill our orb of Fiery Souls. We started by evolving Sandshrew into Sandslash. We then evolved Paras into Parasect, Bellsprout into Weeping Bell, Rhyhorn into Rhydon. We're going for a record amount of Entei spawns in these 10 days. Yes, he spawned again in the Extreme Hills while I was grinding in the Haunted Tower, so we went over and defeated him again. We then evolved Star U into Star Me using a Water Stone. Yep, that's it. Record broken. I'm done. Entei spawned for the 3rd time these 10 days. He's generally just taking the mick out of me at this point. We went over and defeated him again. This Orb of Fiery Souls now has 3 Entei souls in it, which is completely ridiculous. Finally, nearing the end of these 10 days, we finally filled the Orb of Fiery Souls, and all we had to do in the next 10 days was catch the 2 birds. Before the end of these 10 days, we managed to go out and find a Farfetch'd, another Pokemon we needed for the Pokédex, which we caught. Finally, to end off day 181 to 190, we started smelting a load of apricorns as we needed a load of Ultra Balls to catch these 2 legendary birds in the last 10 days. Day 191 to 199 started off with us crafting our last set of Ultra Balls as we were about to head out and catch the 2 legendary birds. We went into Ultra Space as the Articuno Shrine in Ultra Space was closer than the ones in the Overworld. While we were in Ultra Space, we got distracted by a Poipole, which we did indeed catch up. The lag in Ultra Space was so frustrating, I just, for some reason, would just freeze mid-flight, and as I was about 1,000 blocks away from the Articuno Shrine, I froze over the air between 2 islands and fell out of Ultra Space, which really did annoy me. As you can see by my reaction, I'd been streaming for a pretty long time, and I was very, very frustrated. We then set our waypoint to the nearest Articuno Shrine, 10,000 blocks away, and we started to head out to it. On the way to the Articuno Shrine, we came across an absolute godsend of a den. We found a 4-star Dragonair den. We needed Dragonair and Dragonite. Unfortunately, we would end up missing out on Dratini, but that didn't really matter because it helped us knock 2 Pokemon off our list. However, I did by accident throw a netball at it, but thankfully, I did manage to catch it and added Dragonair to the Pokédex. After the Dragonair raid, our luck continued. As I was flying over the ocean, still on my way to Articuno, a Lunala spawned in a den nearby me. I went to engage it, as I do with all legendary dens. We ended up defeating it rather easily, and then, for the first time ever this series, we managed to catch Lunala out of the den. I was absolutely mind blown, but funnily enough, when this happened on the stream, I was actually taking a phone call to sort of return for a collectible coin, which I didn't even get to give a proper reaction to the stream when I caught it, which was rather disappointing. Funnily enough, the Necrozma we caught a while back did have a Lunalizer on it. I completely butchered that, don't quote me on that, but for a bit of fun we did combine Lunala and Necrozma while we were messing around on the island. While still on the island, before we headed back out, we gave Dragonair a rare candy to evolve it into Dragonite, ticking another Pokemon off our checklist. Then finally, after what felt like forever, we pulled up on the Articuno Shrine. We then walked those steps for the 2nd time this season and placed our Orb of Frozen Souls into the shrine, spawning Articuno. Funnily enough, while we were battling Articuno, a Calyrex spawned in a den in the Ice Mountains biome we were in, which we would try to take on if we caught Articuno in time. Unfortunately, we did not catch Articuno in time to do the Calyrex den, but finally, after quite a few battles, we did indeed catch up Articuno, adding him to the Pokédex. On our journey home, we managed to come across an Electabuzz, another Pokemon we needed after trying to catch multiple in this series. I don't know how we still needed him, but we did, so we managed to catch him up, ticking him off the list. As we passed over the swamp just next to our base, a Spectre spawned in a raid den. We did go and defeat him, but unfortunately we could not catch him. I headed to the nearby Tiger to find a Drowsy, as we still needed both Drowsy and Hypno in our Pokédex. We did indeed find a Drowsy really fast, and we did catch him up. I then evolved Drowsy into Hypno at the Haunted Tower using the Ghost-type Pokemon for XP. I then set out on my journey to go to the Moltres Shrine, where I found a Squirtle den, and it trolled me massively. I defeated it, I threw an Ultra Ball, I was saying how hyped I was that I finally had a Squirtle, and then after just one roll, it broke out and disappeared into thin air. I was absolutely gutted. On my way to the Moltres Shrine, I came across a 5-star Bastiodon raid, which I couldn't resist. I went on to defeat it, and it gave us something absolutely amazing that would have been really helpful earlier on in the season, but it was still cool to get nonetheless. The GS ball, the ball you put into those Elix shrines to get Celebi. Cool find, but not useful anymore. As we were about 200 blocks or so from the Moltres Shrine, we came across a shiny Magikarp in the water of an island I was staying on looking for a Slowpoke, and we did indeed catch it up. I don't know why, but in these last 100 days, our shiny luck has been tenfold of what it was in the first 100. Speaking of Slowpoke, on the island, literally 3 minutes later, a Slowpoke spawned on the beach, which thankfully we did manage to catch up. We then turned around and immediately evolved it into Slowbro, knocking them two off our list and adding them to the Pokedex. We then finished day 191 to 199 by pulling up to the Moltres Shrine in the Mesa, where we will be spending day 200, where you'll be joining me live. And here we have it. You are joining me live for the first time this series, these 200 days. It is day 200, as you can see there, and we are about to end it all off by catching the last of the legendary birds that we need, Moltres. It's been a long journey to this point. It's been an absolute grind these past few 10 days. I have been live 5 hours at this point, so I'm tired and I want to get it done, so we're just gonna straight away engage Moltres. No shiny, unfortunately, but the last one of the birds we do indeed need. Unfortunately, he is super effective against Cypher, so this is a bit dodgy on the false swipe end. Hopefully we can... Okay, that's not very good. Hopefully we can take him down before he... Let's hope he uses some more agilities. Don't. Agility again, that's good. False swipe again. Okay, we're in the red at least. Another agility. Nope. And there we go. We're going to bring out Ampharos. And it's Pokeball season. Ultra Balls. Here we go. Can we get the first Ultra Ball luck? No, we did not. Second Ultra Ball. 1 roll. 2 rolls. Broke 3. Okay, come on, Ultra Ball. Okay, let's have a look at those lands here. We're already going to speed a little bit, so. Broke 3. There's that flame chicken that definitely needs a new sprite. Turn 30 is the rule with these birds. Come on. 3, 4, boom! Moltres. Captured. The final of the 3 birds. No ribbon, but there we have it. We have captured Moltres. And there we have it, guys. That is the end of 200 days in Pixelmon. I can't thank you guys enough for the support on the last video and the streams. It really means a lot to me. But as you all know, by watching the video, we failed our goal of catching all 151 original Pokemon. We only caught 131 out of the 151, meaning there was 20 left over, and that adds up to £20 overall, as it was £1 per Pokemon we missed. And that means there is an Amazon gift card for £20 hidden in the video somewhere on a couple of frames. It's blended in with the image, and the first person to find it will get to claim that gift card. Your one clue to find the gift card is at the start of the show. If you are the person who does get this gift card, please do comment it down below with what you used it for, or message me on Discord or tweet me at Wolfiveta. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a great world, and who knows, one day we may return to it. But I've been Wolfiveta, and I'll see you in the next video, and peace.